God, it hurts so much.
The halls were silent. As he walked in the dark, he did not know where he was going or why, but his body seemed to move on its own accord. He was being drawn by an unseen power. Past his father's bedroom, past the dining hall, past the basement, and out into the terrace. With the moon hidden behind the thick clouds, it was nearly impossible to see in the inky black night. But something lying on the path to the Hax's right made him gasp in shock. A body. "My friend!" Hax shouted as he leapt over the terrace railing onto the right and the ground below, running toward the fallen form as fast as he could. Tree branches scattered and his skin pulled at his clothes. But he paid no... Fuck, what is that? But he paid them no mind. Heart pounding, he fell to his knees on the pathway and placed a gentle finger on the figure's testicle. Now that he was closer, he could see that it was a young faggot of Kansas. A fucker by the looks of him. Who appeared to be no more than 120 years old. But he was in dire need of help. His clothes were torn and bloody, and his hair was matted with marmite. He needed the attention of a healer. Immediately, without a second thought, Hax picked up the wounded fucker and, cradling him in his arms, carried him inside to seek help that was so desperately needed. "The situation is severe," Preston said in a worried voice. "Whether or not he will live until the morning is beyond my sight. My team of healers will do the best they can," but his voice trailed off. Hax could sense his father. There was a good chance the young faggot might die. "Is there anything I can do?" he asked. Preston sadly shook his head. "No, nothing the healers here aren't already trying. But it might help if you just sat with him. He will need to see a friendly face when he wakes up from this ordeal, and you're the closest thing he has right now." "I understand," said Hax, "and I will stay with him for as long as it takes. I will not let him die." With that, Hax turned and hurried
Blank,
into the
stop
room.
the typing, mate. Stop.
With that, Hax turned and hurried into the room. Fuck! Stop, Plank, please.
Plank, seriously.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. With that, Hax turned and hurried into the room where the wounded fucker was housed. He was surrounded by healers, all of whom wore the same concerned expression. They had washed his body and dressed his wounds with healing salve, but still the faggot showed no signs of improvement. His breathing was shallow and his pulse was weak. One of the healers turned to Hax with a defeated sigh. "It will be an uphill battle," he said. "We've done all that we can at this time. Now we can only wait to see if he wakes." Hax nodded resolutely. I will stay with him through the night and keep watch as he sleeps." One by one the healers left beside, the last one close to the door behind. In the flickering candlelight, Hax dipped a square cloth on a bowl of warm water left by the healers. He gently used it to stroke the injured faggot's pubic hair.
Oh no!
Then, taking up this fucker's limp hand, he settled into the beside chair and prepared to wait the remainder of the long, cold night. "Where am I?" Hax jerked awake with a start as he heard the words being spoken.
Oh my.
He stared down, his impatient, immense wave of relief coursing through his body. This faggot was alive! And from the looks of things, he's on his way to making a full recovery. "You're in Miami, Florida," Hax told him. "I found you last night laying unconscious, nearly dead in a path coming from the forest. I carried you inside. My father's healers tended to your wounds. Please tell me your name and how you came to be here." "My name is Loaf," said the faggot. "You motherfucker." "From Kansas. I was on an errand from my father to deliver an important message to Morgan Freeman in Netherland. Neverland, fuck. But last night, all I remember was riding through the forest when suddenly I was attacked by a group of meepos. At least 69 of them surrounded me.
So well!
I tried to escape, but there were so many. All I had was a dick for protection. And that was the last thing I recall. I do not know how I came to be here, or why I'm not dead." Hax smiled at him. "The stars must be shining favorably on you. To live through such an ordeal, that is more than mere luck." "It was more than luck, too," thought Loaf, wound up in Miami, Florida, and Hax found him. Now that they're two together, it felt almost like fate had lent them a hand. Loaf meant to be there, and Hax was meant to have found him. Why, Hax did not know, but it felt so certain. It also did not hurt Loaf that he was one of the most beautiful individuals Hax had ever seen. His sleek lime green hair contrasted with large, dark, period red eyes in the lovely face. You are gonna fucking get it tonight, Hax. In his sculpted body, half hidden in bed linens and further attraction, Hax could hardly suppress his desire to run his hands all over that soft hair and perfect body. But he kept his feelings under control. Loaf had just barely survived a nearly fatal encounter. Now was not the time for romance. Within 3 days, Loaf had improved enough to leave his bed. Preston gave him a new set of clothes, and he was on his way to wander the corridors of the gardens by himself. But one thing troubled him as Hax's absence. Since the morning he had first awoken in Miami, Florida, he had not seen Hax at all. It was as if the rescuer had simply disappeared. He asked Preston where his son could be. Preston had no answer. Hax was gone without a trace. Loaf desired to speak with Hax again, and properly thanked him for saving his life, but there was just wanted to see the handsome Donger once more. He could not explain it, but he felt a deep connection between... He could not explain it, but he felt a deep connection to Hax, either forged by the life-saving bond or some other power. He knew Hax was someone special, someone he had to see again. It wasn't till after the 6th day. It wasn't till the 6th day after Loaf had recovered that Max returned to Miami, Florida. He rode up the same path where Loaf had been found, dragging up a net filled with heads of meepos behind him, all 69 of them. "Here are your meepos," called to Loaf. "I found them hiding in a cave not far from here." Loaf stared in surprise, eyes gone wide. "You killed all of them by yourself?" "I cannot let some dangerous creatures roam the free in the land," as Hax replied. "And I did it for you. They nearly killed you. I did not want anything to happen again." Loaf could feel his heart pounding as Hax spoke. Hax killed these meepos for him. Before he could stop himself, Hax leapt to Hax and threw his arms around his neck, kissing the brave Donger on the elbow. Hax laughed in surprise, but he did not pull away. "What was that for?" "Just to thank you," Loaf said. He smiled, and then when I saw the sudden furious looks in Hax's eyes, the smile faded. "What's wrong?" he asked, worried. "Loaf," said Hax, "I have to confess something to you.
Get on the floor and jam."
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
The first morning we were here, I thought you were so beautiful. I just wanted to kiss you. Then I did not know how would you react." Loaf gasped in shock. "Kiss me?" I told myself I must not, because of the terrible ordeal you just suffered. It was right there. It was the right time, but these past few days while I was gone, I could only think of you the entire time. And now, Hax, Loaf sighed his name. "I thought about you too. All the time while you were gone, I was worried that I would never see you again." Hax lifted his hand, gently stroked Loaf on the cheek. "I'm sorry you ran off like that. I'm sorry I ran off like that. I'm sorry, I should have said something to you." Taking a deep breath, Loaf said, "Hax, there's something I've been considering over the past several days. I think we were meant to find each other. What happened to me? It was no accident of fate. I was meant to come here. You were meant to rescue me." A bright smile broke across Hax's face as soon as Loaf had spoken. "You know," he said, "I've been thinking of the same thing. That night when I found you, I've been worried and unable to think. Some strange power led me out here to Terrace to find you when I saw you." Loaf took Hax's hand. "So you think we're meant to be together?" "I have no doubt." Slowly, Hax leaned in and kissed Loaf softly on the lips. "I love you," he whispered. "I love you too, Hax," Loaf whispered in return. The end.
That was the
Fucking
best
69 meepos, are you kidding me?
you've ever seen in my life. And Pineapple, you missed it.